Hi, everybody. This is our first Three of Moms Tarot episode with special guest Marlene Theresa.
Hi, thank you guys so much for inviting me on.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
being here.
Yeah,
So
this
we've
is
got
so
Jay,
wonderful.
Jay from Iridescent Tarot, and we've got Erin from the Witch of Saturn, and we are going to be talking about our Marguerite Peterson week today.
Yes, so exciting.
Do you want to kick it off, Erin? How was your week this week with this
Okay.
deck?
Well, first we have to talk about my experience with this deck before the week even started, because when I bought this deck with the borders on it, and I knew that I wanted to modify it because I just had seen both variations. And it was my first time doing a deck modification. And the
Oh,
amount of stress that I felt was definitely completely irrational. I was like sweating, trying to cut the borders off of this thing. And then I was thinking to myself, I had one of those moments like, oh my gosh, imagine if I cut the title of the card off of by accident. And wouldn't you know it, 2 seconds later, that's exactly what I did.
What card was it?
Well, it was the queen, well, mother of coins, right? Queen of
I knew it was going
pentacles.
to be a court card.
Of
Okay.
course it
More on
was.
that later. Yeah.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was going to throw up.
Oh no.
And everybody had to talk me down. Jay was like, it's not that big, it's a mass market deck. Like,
Yeah.
relax. And my other friend, Jamie Sawyer, was like, it's just ink on paper. But I don't know if you could see it. Do you see this little tape
Oh
spot
yes.
man,
I
you
gave
even had to
it?
put tape on it. That's
Yeah.
rough living.
Well, look at that. Look at that.
If you didn't point it out, I wouldn't be able to
No,
notice
see,
that.
here's the thing is that it was such a good lesson for me and my
Mhm.
need for things to be perfect.
Uh-huh.
And I
Okay.
just immediately felt this like, okay, this deck is already teaching me something. And we're already bonding, right? Because
Good.
having this whole experience with that. But overall, I think that it came out pretty good. Like it's not, don't look too closely at it. It is not perfect, but it was just a really interesting evaluation of myself and my reaction to having messed something up and having it in my mind not be exactly how I wanted. And it was just it took me on a little bit of a wild ride before we even really started working together. And then, I was kind of tentative or curious, unsure of how I was my ability to read with this type of deck. It's definitely outside of the scope of what's in my collection. And I was also excited about that to see if this sparked my intuition in a different way or how the experience was going to go. And I was because it's just so abstract, right?
Yeah,
Like it's definitely out of the box,
definitely.
right? And so I was surprised by how clear
Yeah.
this deck was. And not only that, but it feels so like there's so much depth to it.
Mhm.
And reading the guidebook a little bit and hearing about her process with this deck and what did it take? Jay, I know you know. How many years?
Oh, like 22 years. Yeah.
I think it was 22 years total.
Yeah.
That number sticks out for me that it took her to complete this and how many times. It's funny because she talked about how many times she had to redo the cards or like start
Yes.
over because it wasn't perfect. I'm like, well, like that perfectionism type thing that it
Yeah.
definitely brought that up for me too.
I
And
love that in some of the cards she like repainted over the canvases multiple times for
yeah,
some of them,
You
and you
can
can kind of
tell.
see what's underneath, and I just think that's so, so cool.
it's so cool. And it's also really evident in the artwork itself. There's a progression. Like you can tell this wasn't painted by an artist, like their scope of work over a year or two.
Yeah.
Like you can definitely see that it's not, I don't want to say it's not cohesive because I think that it is, but there are different styles or eras maybe
Yes.
Mhm.
of her art. There's definitely a progression or something through it, I think. Like you
You
can
can
just tell the
see
tone.
you can see I think a lot of people say specifically the differences between the majors and the minors and
Yes.
just how much less abstract the majors are
Yeah.
than the minors. And so I mean, yeah, you see like an evolution of an artist's work
Yes.
throughout the deck itself. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fascinating.
Yeah, I was super curious to hear what you guys were gonna say because this is a deck I've known and worked with for a while because it's one of those decks that like people feel very strongly about one way or the other, and you
Oh,
either
I can
like
see
Yes.
that.
really love it or it's just not
Not for
for
them.
you. Yeah.
Well, I think it is definitely for me. I
Yay.
really, really loved it. I thought the readings were so powerful and clear. And I even got a lot from the guidebook too. I would just do my reading and I would just take in the images and what came through from that. And then I would go through the guidebook and layer on
Yeah.
top of that.
hmm
And I thought that that worked in a really wonderful way. But like, there's something about this deck that feels very yogic to me.
Hmm.
I just mentioned earlier before we started recording that I'm a yoga teacher. That's my background. And there's just like this spiritual component to like the way that this deck reads feels like to me the types of spiritual experiences or insights that I've had on my yoga mat, like through the somatic experience of moving my body and what that's
hmm
brought up for me, that is there's like a reminiscent aspect or something to I almost wonder, I'm like, did she do yoga? Like there's just this
Hmm.
vibe to it. I even paired on one of the Oracle days because of that. This is one of my I love this deck. It's called Art of Attention by Elena Brower.
Oh,
And it's
really?
she's yeah, nobody's ever heard of it because it's like she's a yoga teacher
Uh-huh.
and she did this deck that's just it's a lot of that one's upside down. It's a lot of pictures of her doing yoga and yoga
Okay.
poses and things like that, but it still is always hits for me in a really strong way. And I've used this a lot in yoga classes. That's actually how I found it, was one of my yoga teachers had handed out a card for each student on like New Year's Day.
hmm
It was really cool. But I paired it with Marguerite Peterson because of that kind of I don't know, that same vein.
I know that you really like to categorize your decks now. So do you think that Marguerite became like your yoga deck?
I mean, maybe I haven't actually thought about that, but I do think that there is something that translates to me in a similar way. Like part of the reason that I like yoga is that it's more than, or really that it's just such a, not even that I like it, it just works for me because it's not just exercise. Like there's something deeper to it, and it's an
hmm
exploration of the self through
hmm
the body. And in that way, it does kind of mirror something that tarot offers me.
hmm
And I do think that this is the closest that I've gotten to that experience with like with them aligning or mirroring each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like it's the
I'm with
most
you.
Yes.
similar type of experience, like reading these cards that I have had on my yoga mat. So I guess
Yeah.
that it probably would be like my yoga tarot deck.
I love
Cool.
that. That's like a very unique connection to have with the deck, and I haven't ever heard anybody talk about it in that way.
I just wonder, I she sounds like she would do yoga. Like,
hmm
Well, Marlena, you've been working with this deck for a long time. Have you felt that same type of way about this deck?
So it's funny because I'm thinking, and I'll admit to you, Aaron, I've never done yoga, so we'll have to talk about that more.
Yes, we
But
should.
I feel like, but I understood everything that you were saying because it sounds like you were making a mind-body connection through,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
with the, like, or at least that's what I'm imagining is happening. And I was thinking that this deck, for me, it's very heady, but at the same time, like, I never feel grounded. I told you before, I'm a Gemini, so like, I don't even, when people say grounded, I'm like, what is that? Um, so like, I'm always floating. But this deck, it does, and especially like, I mean, the suit, the earth suit that's supposed to feel, more grounded, but it just lets you, I don't know, it lets you kind of expand with it, with the images. It does something different. And even if you're starting from like your tarot base and knowledge, like it just lets you kind of move out with it, which is
Yes.
I guess I'm assuming, I have no idea, is what it feels like when you're stretching your body or moving your body and like those in slow ways like that in yoga. So,
I think
but
you're
yeah.
you're natural. You should just
Yeah.
get on that.
Um, but yeah, for me, it was fun because I hadn't worked with her, with Margaret Petersen, in a long time. And I do have both versions of the deck. I have the gray and I have the maroon borders. And I
Okay, which one do
like
you like better?
so I prefer the maroon because this is just like, I mean, it's like part of like my aesthetic, like this kind of color. And I edged like my
Looks great.
modding was the edging that I did.
Oh, that looks so good.
It does
I've
look so
not, I
good.
wouldn't chop the borders because they both give a different feel. Like, did you mod
Really?
yours is modded too, Jay? Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Mine came like this, modded with
Oh
the
yeah.
yeah, off eBay, and then the only modding I did was edging it. So I did
Yeah.
orange.
I didn't edge the gray one, or I don't know. Yeah, I guess they call this gray. It's like a very,
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
it's
light.
gray.
Yeah.
grayish white.
I
Um,
think it's gray.
but I work with this one more. And then the backs are a little bit different too, because this has like the border around it, and the other one has just like the straight, it's just like all the way. Yeah, it goes all the way to the edge.
Can I
The
see the
maroon.
backs of the maroon one?
Maroon, yeah. Hang on, I'm already making a mess in front of me. Um, it's par for the course. But yeah. It goes
Oh,
just,
wow.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
And
I just love this color, and
I,
it's
I,
moodier. It's
yeah, I don't know. I like the art with that color.
yeah.
It
In person,
pops.
does it read as maroon or purple?
I mean,
It
it's
looks to me.
wine color. It's like a
In between.
Cabernet.
Yeah, it is a Cabernet.
Yeah.
It totally is.
So yeah. I prefer the purple reddish because that's like one of my favorite colors, but they do each have their own voice. They
Really?
definitely do,
Interesting.
which is why I've kept them both and used them both, and paired them together this past week too.
Oh,
So,
that's so cool.
yeah,
So
I've kept
before
them.
you tell me about that, tell
Mhm.
me what their personalities are. Like, what is the descriptive, like a one-liner for each of them?
Oh my gosh, a
Yep.
one-liner. I guess I feel like the maroon one, yeah, is just like more like moody and brooding.
Okay.
Um, and then I guess the gray one just feels a little bit more like spacious and airy.
Hmm.
Cool. Okay.
I
That
don't
is
know.
such an
That's what came to
interesting.
mind.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm on board.
So can you talk a little bit about that experience of pairing them together?
So yeah, I'm meeting with them together. I've done this before. So what I did was, here, let me take a look. I did. Oh, like I was kind of working with the maroon as the shadow, right? And
Mm.
the gray as the light.
Mm.
So I
Cool.
another thing, I'm not sure if you guys, when you work with this deck, if you do many cards or few cards. I find that like I can't really do a whole lot because it's so immersive. That's another
Yeah.
word.
Hmm.
Intense and
Yeah.
immersive is how I feel about this deck. So I could only do like two cards. And I did one reading that was more cards, but it really two cards is like my main,
Damn.
jam with this deck. But yeah, I did, let's see. I mean, and I was gonna tell you guys, I got almost nothing but court cards the whole
Uh,
week, which is hilarious because I'm in the middle of a court card study. It's like she knows what I need. And I literally was just talking about how I'm doing like my fall curriculum for myself is
uh-huh.
the court cards. And
Yes.
so, well, I when I used these two decks, I got the Mother of Coins, which is hilarious because that's the card that you
Mhm.
cut,
Yeah.
and the Son of Feathers. So I got a court card from each deck.
Universe was like,
Oh,
"Oh, you want to work with court cards? Let's
Yeah.
give you some serious court cards."
which is also interesting. Like, which color was which from? Because pentacles and swords, right, with earth and air.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the
And
Mother of Coins was from the purple deck, the
yeah,
maroon, yeah. And the
wow.
Son
Nice.
of Feathers came from the gray deck, yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
there you go. I mean,
Yeah.
that in of itself is very
So
interesting.
Mother of Coins or Queen of Pentacles for me is like, I feel like if you ever work with significators, like she's like my polar opposite. Like I feel like
Mm.
I don't ever feel like I'm embodying the Queen of Pentacles. She feels like so far from me. And then the Son of Feathers, depending on how you like
Interest
how
feathers.
you do, yeah, how you do the uh like which is the if the knight or the father is the king, the son would be the knight or prince. It depends on if you're reading Thoth or,
Yeah.
and I think this deck is Thoth inspired.
Yeah.
It's very Thothy to me.
What
Um,
about it gives you Thoth vibes? Because being in the middle of my Thoth study, I would like to be able to pick out little elements.
So, definitely the court cards because they're a family.
Hmm.
So there's this kind of crazy narrative that Aleister Crowley has for the court cards that's like this kind of crazy, like weird story of how the knight, well, because and I'm gonna have to do a better job of this one day, like on my own channel about like explaining why the knights are knights, no matter what deck we're looking at for me, and how the princes are kings. Anyway, I won't like go too far into that here, but the story is, and I wrote it down because I wanted to share it with you. Um, so the story of the court cards in the Book of Thoth, it's the eternal like myth of creation. So the night is the seed that enters the queen's womb and that produces the prince who finds balance and the princess who embodies the energy in the material world and then turns back to reawaken the night. So it's like this endless like creation
Hmm.
myth and it's very weird and incestuous.
Yeah, for sure.
and but
That's
that's the
so
yeah,
interesting.
it's like the tale of the elements, it's a family of archetypes. And
Mhm.
because the way that she writes about the court cards in the guidebook and how they're a family in this deck, it seems like it's Thothy.
Hmm.
I
Interesting.
saw Erin's wheels turning, and now I
Yeah.
feel like we're gonna get off this call, and she's gonna text me and be like, "I need a Thoth deck stat."
Well, I have this thing. So, speaking of the Gemini energy, I have a very
Yeah,
strong Gemini Mercury. So, if I get
yeah.
curious about something, not only do I want to learn about it and answer my
Mhm.
own questions, but I want
Mm.
to like consume all of the information, know absolutely everything until I'm like completely flushed out on my understanding
Yeah,
of it. So it will
yeah,
send me down a rabbit hole because
yeah,
in the best way, because
yeah.
that's super interesting.
Hmm.
And court cards are something that everybody struggles with at some point
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
their learning of tarot. And not only that, but I think that I mean, like anything with the tarot, like you can just
Hmm.
keep going, you keep studying, you can keep learning
Yeah.
different facets of the cards, and the courts especially have so much to offer in that way. that I'm definitely intrigued. My wheels are turning about that.
So, because like a lot of people read, page, knight, queen, king, and they
Yeah.
run like it's a progression of mastery of the element or suit from
Yep.
page to king. But if you take into account, it's like, it's an allegory of the story of the page or princess. She's the beginning and the end. And the knight or king, I don't know, however you want to see it, is also the beginning and the end of this like cyclical creation myth. And then if you take into account the elements, it just gets wild and fun.
That sounds really
Uh,
fun. So, what is the progression then? If there's princess, can you run through that for me? Like, what's the lineup? Is there one? What?
So I think everybody like could potentially read it a little differently, but yeah, princess, prince, queen, knight.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
So you could assign
Very
it
prince.
as page, knight, queen, king. But for me, knights are knights always because
So you think
like
uh-huh.
it's kind of
Yeah.
flipped, so
hmm
that the king and the knight are essentially
yeah,
flipped
yeah.
in that? Okay.
I mean, honestly, you could probably find like a ton of videos with like completely opposing opinions about that.
Oh, I'm sure.
I bet I hope we get comments below of people like, wait a minute, the knights are
Everyone's
the
going to be
kings and the
confused.
kings are the what?
Yeah. And then you have me here who's midway through this study. And honestly, as I'm reading through this, like the Book of Thoth, I'm like, am I just dumb? Like I truly
No.
I truly have moments where my mind is just bent in half. And as you're describing these courts, I feel the bending happening, Marlena.
I promise you, like anybody reading the Book of Thoth is gonna be like a little bit like losing it because it's
Yeah.
it's cuckoo bananas. Yeah, it's
Yes.
it's
Yes.
cuckoo bananas. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I sent Erin a picture. I think it was page 4 where there's like 400 math equations. And I'm like, am I supposed to be understanding any of this? Because it
No.
was straight over my head.
And honestly, the understanding of this like court card progression and like cycle is like, I don't know. I mean, look, I think it pairs really well with the Margaret Petersen. See what I did there? Because it's like this like intuitive kind of like understanding of it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a feeling. It's a feeling when you're working with this deck and you're just
Yes.
Yeah.
kind of like moving with it.
That's what I wrote down for my like overarching theme of this week. I wrote that I feel like this deck is visceral. Like I pull a
Mhm.
card and I can feel it in my body. And there's
Yeah.
very few decks where I feel like that happens to me.
I like that.
I
Yeah.
love that. That it's very somatic.
Hmm.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Somatic makes you feel connected to your body that you pull up and you're like, oh, I like heard like a little there one in particular. When I pull the tower, like I can hear the glass like in my ear.
Yeah.
And it's just like
That
such a
glass
weird,
shattering.
yeah, you can hear the glass shattering. You can feel the heat in the Hierophant.
I love the Hierophant so much because of the hand, like the
Let me
hand
find it.
out.
Oh yeah. Yep, right there. Gotcha.
Yeah, it feels like really connected. Like it's really like asking you to like I'm like here about to touch the camera. Like,
I can
yeah.
feel that when I look at it. I can feel that
Hmm.
hand right on my heart. Like I can
Yeah.
feel this deck.
Yeah.
I I felt that with, I'll have to look through my, I do like a digital tarot journal now that
Hmm.
I really like because I can just pull up the pictures of my spreads very
Yeah.
quickly. But on the three of coins, there's that footprint
Yeah.
on
I
it.
love the hands and feet.
Yeah, and I felt like that was this very interesting, like,
That's the six.
yeah, this is the three of coins.
Hmm.
Very interesting, like putting like a literal put your foot into, like step into
Hmm.
the, and this on this one there's this gigantic ohm back to the yoga theme, right? Where it was literally, it felt, my interpretation of this card upon just looking at the art was like, oh, like you're contributing and putting your own, stepping your foot into the universal sound of prana, of life force energy, right? Of duality and like
That has a yoga pose, right?
leaving your mark. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a meditation posture.
My favorite card is the Daughter of Cups.
I love that.
And you can see, like for me, this is a person on the precipice of jumping into a body of water.
Yes.
And
Mm,
I literally, like you were talking about that feeling that you get, like I literally feel that like intake and that
yep.
moment before you jump in. It's exactly what it feels
Yeah.
like.
You know what's interesting is that on my day two, when I paired this deck with Library of Questions, I got the Daughter of Cups, the Hierophant, and the Tower. Those three cards we just talked about in that spread.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. But
Well,
I
that's
felt
funny
this,
too, because I got the Mother of Coins, which is the card that you mentioned as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
We
She's
were connected.
she's big. She's got
Yeah.
there's a
A
network
She
reach.
is. Yep.
happening. Yeah, it's
She is. I
big.
got the tower too on my interview spread. I
You
was
guys
like,
do the same interview spread, right?
Yeah.
yeah, we do the same one every day one. It's just one that I've had in my back pocket for like 10 years.
And I like it because the interview spreads that I had been doing felt like cumbersome and
Mm-hmm.
too much.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of
Too many questions.
questions.
Like we just met. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah.
too
Yep.
too intense of a first date.
Yeah.
And and I could never remember them. I was always kind of
Yeah.
like switching it up. And this
Yeah.
was just very easy. In my head, it is strength, weakness, you, me, us together, done.
Hmm.
Like it just ties it up in a neat little.
Yeah. I've done a version of that many times. I've even shortened mine to three cards, just you, me, us,
I like that.
you
Oh, I
know?
like that. Yeah.
But for this week, because I was reuniting, with an old friend, I did it was like a reunion sort of spread, and I just did then and now, so it's like what were we
Oh,
like then and what are we like now? And I got the two of coins for then and the father of coins. I got almost every single court card.
wow.
I got
Oh,
the father of coins for now. And I'm like, well, of
Nice
course, yeah.
progression.
Yeah.
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 That is really cool. I like your interview spread too, because sometimes I do get mentally stuck on the strength weakness thing.
Mhm.
I get a little, but what does that mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can go a little too far.
Yeah.
In my interview spread, I had a lot of balance. Like up top, I had the Six of Cups. Down below, I had the Six of Flames. And then in the middle, across the middle, I had three majors. And I felt like there was just this balance. And my impression, just like if I don't go card by card and I just go by an impression, I felt like she's scary and big and transformational. And I remember texting Erin being like, she's doing the most, she's too much, and I'm scared.
Yeah.
Well, and
That's
you,
why less cards. I feel like
Yes.
she's
Yeah.
like needs
Yes.
less cards.
yeah, I can definitely see that. The two card tactic is wise.
Hmm.
Yes, I didn't
Especially
look.
if you already have a relationship with the deck.
Yeah.
Hmm. How did well, you said how you felt overall. Did that continue for you throughout the week, Jay? Like, did you still feel like, did it build or did
So
it?
I narrowed my scope down. So I am
Uh,
also a small spread girl. I've talked about that before. Like of the five cards in the interview I can handle, but if I'm reading just throwing down a spread, I like three tarot cards. I like to sprinkle in some oracle, but more than that, and I feel like things get muddy, like you're just asking for too
mhm,
much.
mhm,
And so I did narrow it down. Day two, I did for a library of questions, the dreamer spread. So basically, I had a dream and I woke up in the morning. I asked Margarete Petersen three questions. What kind of dream is this? What message does this dream carry? What action in real life is needed from me now? And I felt like you're spot on. Three cards. It worked beautifully. And I am also a guidebook girly, and I was like, I'm not using the guidebook on this. And that worked well for me too.
There's that Hierophant again.
Yep, the Hierophant
Mhm.
again. They were, I think that was our stalker this week.
Hmm.
Did you use the guidebook at all or?
So I used guidebook on day one with the interview just
Mhm.
to kind of see um how it read. And I will say, logistically, I don't enjoy the way that this guidebook is set up. So I found it hard to find the cards that I needed. You start off with the majors, and then she goes through the courts by suit, and
Mhm.
then you go into the minors.
Yeah.
And I felt like every time I went to look for my card, I was flipping through the guidebook for like 10 minutes, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm reading the cards what they look like.
That's cool. Yeah. I highly recommend that you go back to it though, because like honestly, if and it's a little white book, right? Because if there's any, for me, if there's any guidebook to read cover to cover, it's this one.
Really?
Because I mean, well, first of all, I mean, I'm a poet, so reading all
Mm,
the poems, and look, and I'm picky too about poetry connected
uh-huh.
to tarot because sorry, it can get real cheesy real quick if with some stuff that I have seen. That's why I've never ever tackled it myself. But
Mm.
this is amazing, like amazing.
I feel
So
like I
good.
need somebody to reorganize this into a booklet that makes sense for me, and then I could be on board with you. But
Yeah,
I do think the entries themselves are good. It's just logistically in this booklet, it
yeah.
pisses me off.
It may work for you if you're like doing an elemental study or like a numbers study, because then that
Yeah.
way you can like play with that one element. Or if you're just like focusing on court cards, you can do it like that.
Uh-huh.
That
Yep.
might
Yeah,
work.
you just have to go into it thinking like, okay, and this would be an interesting. I did it with the deck that we did before and the deck that we did afterwards, but I didn't do it with this deck, was laying out all
Hmm.
of the cards in the majors and
Yeah.
then all of the suits and taking in the deck that way, which really works well for me. And I think that maybe that would be an interesting thing to do with this one, but the way that it's presented in the guidebook, like lay out the majors and then lay out the court families
Yeah.
and then lay out the minors ace through 10 and see the different
Hmm.
stories because
Yeah.
she's structuring that in the it that way in the guidebook, which I noticed, but I didn't give it as much thought as I'm giving it now. Like there's a clear reason for that, and I'm now, tonight or tomorrow going to do that because I want to see like what's that look like
Hmm. Yeah.
with the card. Jay, I think you just have to like go into it remembering that like majors, courts, minors.
Yeah. Yep.
Like you
I
have to just reorient your brain to
I
it.
don't like to rewire for specific decks though. Like
Yeah.
I don't want things when if I'm going to use the guidebook, I don't want it to be a high maintenance project. I want it to be
Mm.
smooth as butter. Open the guidebook to the page I'm thinking it's going to be at.
But to something, okay, I can see that reorganizing or restructuring a guidebook for the sake of it would be annoying. But if it's intentional, if there's like a very specific reason behind why she laid it out that way, which for this deck, I imagine that there must be. Like it
Hmm.
must be
Mm-hmm.
very intentional. Maybe it does go back to it pulling from the Thoth or Toth. I never know how to say it. I'm
It
bad
doesn't, I mean, you could, people disagree about it. You can
at
say it
it.
however you want.
Great.
Hmm.
That's good. I love
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Just do whatever. But maybe it's that. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of structure that she gave it.
Yep. I see what you're saying. It's still high maintenance though.
I know I totally have had, and I feel like I've had that feeling many times, like where I'm just like, look, I'm here for the for the one thing I want to look at, and that's it. Like I don't need to be spending all this time in this guidebook. And then other times I'm like, oh, I just want to sit with this guidebook and journal
Uh-huh.
it and like write a million lines from it. And like now I'm inspired to write my own poem from it. Like, so I get it.
Yes.
I get it. I can be in both camps for
Oh
sure.
yeah, I could too. I could totally see it. Listen, there's
Yeah.
a lot less has annoyed me. Let's say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, Marlena, did you
Mhm.
pair the two Marguerites together on one of the days that we were pairing with an oracle, or which day did you do that? And then what
I
did you pair? What else?
Yeah, I did. So I did it on day 3. I paired the decks together, but then on day 4, I paired with one of my favorite poetry oracles. So I used
Mm.
Divining Poets Keats or Yeats. Sorry, why did I say Keats? Yeats. This was wild too. It was the Daughter of Cups. I
I
got
love that
her.
card too. I love
And
it.
then I got this excerpt from a Yeats poem, and it says, oh, mind your feet, oh, mind your feet. Keep dancing like a wave, and under every dancer, a dead man in his grave.
Ooh,
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
so spot on, so
So
good.
spot on.
right.
And I had to look up, and then I had to see, this is a time when I had to look it up in the guidebook, and then I had to look up the full length poem, and then I wrote the whole poem in my,
Wow.
in my journal. And I mean, it's all themes about, like life and death and cycles of life and death. And the actual poem is, oh my gosh, a drunkard. But it's like there's a lot of like dualism in the poem as well.
Don't
But
you just love going on those rabbit holes where it leads you to one
it,
thing and then another?
it's my favorite thing. That's
Yep.
why I'm here.
Yep.
That's why I'm here with the tarot.
Yep.
Yeah. But for sure, just with these lines and, this, image of like your feet and the wave, it was so,
Yeah.
so synchronistic, so
Well,
good.
and even that kind of like shadow, that bottom depth
Hmm.
in that card, like
Uh-huh.
the dead man at the bottom, like doesn't it look
Yeah.
like that? Like it could
Yeah.
be like
Yeah.
beneath the surface,
Yeah, it really does.
right?
Hmm.
It's
Yes.
like,
Like you would do that as a kid, like you just like lay
yeah,
in the pool and pretend.
scare the crap out of your parents.
Yes, yeah.
What did you pair up oracle wise?
So I did the Art of Attention one day.
Yep.
And then the other oracle that I used was, oh my gosh, the Wild Unknown Archetypes.
Ooh.
Oh, I saw that picture on your Instagram and I thought it went really well together.
I thought that it would pair well together because of the size of this deck, like what we were saying about the, I don't know, the consciousness of it being so vast and big. And I thought that it would lend itself well to, working with a big thing like an archetype. And it was interesting because the archetypes, I've worked with this deck a little bit, not like it's not like my daily reader or anything, right? It has a very
Mhm.
specific purpose. But this was the first time where I just felt like I got the message from the archetype cards like that. And even I did go to the guidebook because I'm a big fan of Kim Cran's guidebooks in general. I think she does a really good guidebook. And I like put it away because I was like, no, 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 that's wrong. Like because it
Wow.
seemed so like the message of the archetype cards with this tarot was just super clear to me. And I really liked them together. I think, if you have this floating around, you might want to try it.
I have the mini.
Yeah.
I rehomed the big archetypes, and now I have the little one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they would work too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Since you've had them both in hand, was the big version cardstock any better than the little?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that saves me 20 bucks.
But it
Okay.
doesn't bend like yours do. The big ones, like mine aren't, they don't
I mean,
Mine are
shuffling a
like
circular
stuck.
deck is like,
it's so hard.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
mine has
so
just like,
that's one of the only decks I've been doing where I like do the spread it out, fan it and then feel along
uh-huh.
and feel for the warmth or
Yeah.
tingle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Doesn't that feel so magical when you do it though?
I love it. Yeah.
We save it for these decks that have weird cardstock or weird shapes, and then we're like, oh, but this is so cool. Why can't I do this all the time?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's that? What did you do?
Okay, this was my accidental day where, so instead of doing 5 days of Marguerite, I did a sixth day.
Love
I
it.
had done 2 days of Oracle pairings, and for some reason, I woke up that morning and I was like, Kathy Nichols and Marguerite, you're going together. And I pulled this spread, and I was like really blown away by it. So I had here up top, this is your um this is your signature, Erin, 3 by 3. So you just pull 3 Oracle, 3 Tarot, and see what messages you get across and down, and just kind of read it in all different kinds of ways. And so I got self reliance with the 10 of Feathers, gratitude and the Daughter of Flames, and crossing with the Fool. And the way that I interpreted this was very much like this whole spread speaking about being like the oldest daughter and the responsibilities that come along with that,
Mm.
and how it's made me who I am. And the Daughter of Flames was very reminiscent of the Hierophant, which I had gotten the day before, of like just like being born out of the flames of these like
Mm.
difficult things, being self-reliant.
That's really cool. They go well together.
Yeah, I thought so too. It was like a little bit, I don't know. Kathy Nichols is more lighthearted, but it kind of brings a little bit of levity, like visually.
Hmm.
I don't recognize the top deck. What did you say? It's the Kathy Nichols Tarot or it's
Story
the
cards.
story cards.
They're
Okay.
really
Yeah,
beautiful, aren't they?
an oldie but a goodie.
Is it an oldie or is it an indie deck or is it mass market?
It's an oldie indie, and she's
Oh.
got two um oracles that are in tuck boxes. She's got the story cards and the synchronicity cards, and both of them are very, very similar. So to me, they're kind of interchangeable. 70 hand painted cards and a little booklet that doesn't tell you much.
But I think that one is out of print now, right
Oh,
now.
really?
I
Uh-huh.
do. I think
Oh,
don't quote me. Look into it. But
well, Marlena, if you want it, I'm constantly on the cusp and off the cuffs of selling this one. So you can,
Oh. I
I,
just
I,
was curious. I hadn't seen
I
it
can mail her
before.
your way.
You're so funny. I just didn't recognize it, but that's cool. That's a
yeah,
cool
they look
pairing.
they look good together.
Yeah.
So, Marlena, what did you think overall about like the deck connectors structure of working with a deck?
Oh, I liked it. I definitely liked it. I love doing different activities with my tarot and I liked every day having something different to do to focus on. And all of those things are things that like we list as like 5 things to connect with your deck, like, or if you've ever seen, I don't know, listicle type video. But yeah, for sure. I love pairing. And I also I didn't tell you the spread that I use because I don't have the book that you guys have. So I've been using and it's very glossy. The Understanding the Tarot Court by Mary Kay Greer. And it was this spread that's called Growing Up. And this was the one spread that I did that I used multiple cards more than two. But this one was really cool because you intentionally pulled cards from the court card. So you would pick like a past version of you and then a present version of you as like your significator. And then it had to do with like a trigger, your core issue, and an alternate possibility for your like where you could have ended up. So it was an intense spread too.
That's a lot of cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it ended up with yeah, so it's five. And but since two of them I had chosen intentionally, it didn't feel too crazy because
Got it. Yeah.
I picked them out first. But yeah, and I ended up with more court cards there too, I think. So but yeah, I liked it. It made me do the structure for deck connectors made me go through like specific activities day by day that, and I like that, you know. Sometimes I like to be freewheeling, and sometimes I really like a good routine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We tarot people seem to like having homework assignments.
I mean, I'll give them out too. Yeah. Yeah. I also did because you guys the last day, right, is the Tao. You have a
Yes.
book. I don't have that book, but I have this. I have the
Oh,
Tao
cool.
box.
Oh,
So
cool.
it has like the not all of the Tao, but like 50 something of them on cards, and then it has the like it has these really pretty uh, paintings, like images from different paintings, Japanese, you know.
Wow. And then are the backs words?
I know
So
the
then it'll have your like excerpt from the Tao.
wow.
Oh, send me the link.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I already know you're ordering that. Like,
Send me
you're
the
gonna
link,
stay tuned.
sister.
This one could potentially, it might be out of print.
No,
It
we can
might
trade.
be,
You can have my story cards.
we
Those
could,
are
yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
I
And
feel like,
then the
yeah,
guidebook
yeah.
goes a little bit further.
Those
So
are
what
cool.
did you pull?
So I pulled adaptability. And I don't really know the Tao Te Ching that well. Like I really don't. Like I tried to like learn the Tao. I've tried like I Ching stuff too, and like I really feel like I'm like way out of my depth there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I got adaptability. And I got paired with a core card, wouldn't you know? It was the Daughter of Flames.
Oh, that's the
So,
one that I pulled. Yeah.
Yeah.
oh really? For
Yes.
your Tao day?
No, no, for the
Not
day
for your dad.
before that.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and then let's see. So I wrote down from the guidebook, which I did use for the Tao book, that the sage has no need to show his strength. He has no need to brag or compete for his strength. For his strength is in being able to bend when it serves him to bend. He knows how to let go of what he wastes and where he thinks he is going. The strength of the sage is in being at home and at ease with the changes of his life. And that was very appropriate for stuff that went on with me this past
Mm,
week. It was so
mm-hmm.
good. And then the Daughter of Flames. So it was just, yeah, it was perfect. Very perfect.
Aaron, what'd you get?
So that was the day that it's funny, we did a couple of like, we switched, we did each other's styles with this deck. Like,
Mm.
for that day, I did a very classic J reading where I use this book, I take the actual day. In the back, there's a calendar
Oh,
where in the Northern Hemisphere, the day that's associated with each passage. So I just use it like as an oracle that way, where I'm like, whatever day it is, that's what I'm reading. And this one was on cleansing. And then I used the little spirit kittens, the witch kittens,
yeah, this is,
to intentionally, like I went through and pulled the cards to set the spread. So I did a new beginning, winds of change, and clarity, like what was starting new and what was transforming and what I needed to get clear on about it. And it was funny because the Mother of Coins, which is the card, right, that I cut, and that also showed up in my interview spread, which was hilarious. Like both cards, because there was one other one that I like trimmed too short. They both showed up in my interview spread, and that showed up in this too. And it felt like a really nice full circle for the week for me. Um, and yeah, I just think the deck is beautiful and powerful, and I liked this this style, like that's so different for me, the way that like it's just a classic J. She's like, I pulled this passage and then I intentionally set out my spread and then I pulled cards for each of them. And that's not as much structure as I usually do with my own readings. And I really did like the intentionality of it mixed in with, the divination aspect. So it felt very like I was an active participant in creating the reading, and I liked that.
Yeah, and then you had the cards that are so abstract that let you roam free a little bit, so you
Yeah.
have the structure and then the freedom kind of
Yes,
waxing
it
and
gives a
waning.
little bit of both. And I really enjoyed that, like the ending, not like it's the end of me working with this deck, but the end of this week with it.
So it sounds like everyone's keeping their Marguerite. No one's
Oh,
getting rid of her.
Oh, that's right, because you rehomed. You guys rehomed Oak, Ash, and Thorn.
Yeah, last week was a little bit ruthless. So this week, I'm glad that everyone's keeping their decks.
well, listen, we knew I was keeping it the moment that I had to start gluing and taping it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Nobody's buying that.
Yeah, yeah, you were going to be a rough sell on that one.
My own spit in it, like.
I cut my finger. There's some blood. Starting off, I one of my concerns with Marguerite was some of these cards in the minors to me. If you're just walking through a dentist's office, like you could see this on the wall. And I was like, I need to make sure that I can get something out of the dentist cards. Like
I've heard somebody else say literally that. Yeah.
really? Are
Yeah.
you serious?
Yes, very serious. Yeah.
I need to know who it is so that I can connect.
That's one, I can't remember exactly who it is, but like I feel like that's one of the things that people who like don't necessarily connect with it, that's what they
Yeah.
say about it. Mm.
That's how I felt at the beginning. I was like, even just a card like this, Son of Flames, walking by, you're in the hospital, you're walking by, this is what's on the wall. And so I was like, I
Yes.
really need to make sure that I can get something out of these cards.
Mhm.
And I can. My ultimate conclusion is when I look deeper and I take the time to really look at it,
Mhm.
I can pull things in a
Yeah.
way that you can't if you're just trying to be quick. And so this deck is not a quick deck. It's not something that you throw down and move on with your day.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's my message is that I need to slow down with the guidebook too, because I think I'm good at slowing down with the cards now. But with the guidebook, I did, get a little bit frustrated. And I think I could learn a lesson from that.
Sure, or not. Like if you're just feeling the art and feeling like the immersive experience of it, do it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
I have two other abstract decks. I have this one, I have
mhm.
Dream Dust Shamanic,
Oh, very,
and
yeah, similar.
and
Hmm.
I have Shimmering Veil. So what I want to do next, now that we're done with this, is I'd like to film a comparison with all three of those decks because I think that that would be helpful in my brain too. Because Marguerite wasn't necessarily on the chopping block, but I did have those feelings about these cards that I don't have the same feelings about those other two. And now that I feel connected to Marguerite, I need to reevaluate my connection with Dream Dust, I think. Shimmering Veil is rock solid. So I think it would be helpful to look through all three together.
I
Interesting.
don't have Dream Dust Shamanic, but because I've thought that myself that like it I thought maybe I'll just show cards while I talk like you do. Um
She's a
I
professional.
no, I am not.
You are. You are.
But I don't have Dream Dust Shamanic, but because I thought maybe it would be too similar. And I really love this deck. But what I like about this deck is I don't this is not like just like the sling cards and go type of deck for me. Although I'm sure there's got to be some people out there that use it that way. But I like the puzzle of it, and that I see something different in the cards each time I look at them. The majors that feel like much easier to interpret, especially if you're a Waite Smith reader. But yeah, like it's an immersive, like very emotional, intense experience, and I like to have those. I like
Yeah.
Yeah.
to have those. So that's why, yeah, I love this deck. But
I
I
think
don't
if
know.
you're that connected to Marguerite, you're not going to get much more out of the other ones.
Look
Mm.
at Nine of Feathers. That's
Mm.
like it's scary card. But yeah. But I do see, like, I definitely do get that, like, doctor's office sort of deal.
Yeah, I can see that too. That's hilarious that you think that. That's so funny. Um, we talk sometimes about like a deck being a puddle where there's just like not much depth to it, or like
Uh-huh.
the ocean. And this is definitely an ocean deck.
Yes.
Yes, where it's vast and powerful and you can dive really deep and it's
Mhm.
different all of the time and all of
Yes.
those things. Yeah, it's definitely a keeper.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
good. I'm
think
so
that,
glad you guys like
yeah,
it. Yeah, I'm so glad. I wasn't sure where it would end up when we met. Yeah.
that's funny. Yeah. I think, got a lot out of this week and really enjoyed working with her. I mean, I know if I did an accidental extra day that I was enjoying working with her. That says a
Yeah,
That's
lot to me.
cool.
that's
Yeah.
so true. Extra
Mhm.
Yeah.
homework,
Yeah.
extra credit, right? Yeah, I
Thank you so much.
for
Yeah.
hours, but
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me on. This was super fun. Okay.
But we're so happy that you did this with us. Like
Yay,
I feel like I met
Reba.
a celebrity. Listen, you've been
Oh,
on my TV.
stop. Stop it. Stop it. Thank you. No, you guys are great. I immediately thought that we would deck connect and also tarot friend connect. Yeah.
Yeah, for
yay!
sure. So happy to have
Wonderful.
you and meet you. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we'll
thank you
talk to you
so much.
later. Signing
Bye.
out. Bye.